So the turning point in my life. What was the first crack in the armor? I mean, fuck sakes, like that. That's like that's so far to remember what the first like my life like it was. There's so much shit that happened that I mean, fuck, first crack in the armor. Like it's a fucking weird question, you know. I don't know, childhood, freaking being born. I think. Well, I guess it was when my dad died, right? Like I was 8 years old. Like that was probably one of the most painful things I've experienced in childhood. And like I had until he passed. Like I had a good relationship with him. He was a caring person, a loving dad, and I loved enjoying. I enjoyed hanging out with him. Like we would drive around in his pickup truck, and we'd be blasting Elvis, and that's one of my fond memories, right? So when losing him, like fuck, it was fucking painful. Like it hurt. When I was a kid, I was telling myself stories that he moved somewhere, or maybe he was like a fucking secret agent. I was watching James Bond back then, or some shit like that, right? You just don't want to believe that they're actually gone, that they actually passed, and they created a lot of anger in me in my teenagehood. I was pissed off at him for fucking dying. That's not his fault, but still it hurts, and growing up that way. So if you want to, that's my first crack in the armor that I could think of, and that's in childhood, right? And there's many more things that have happened. And did someone say something that woke me up? And I think what it was like when I was in foster care for a bit, and I went AWOL, which is missing. I was missing for 2 weeks, and it was when I was told that when I came back, my foster mom said that the next stage was that we were going to start looking in ditches for you, that we were going to start making posters about you. And I seen my grandma from Sumas. She started crying, and she was sad, and that's what woke me up. Like I seen that pain in her, and I seen the sadness. I seen that how much I was cared for. And she says, "You gotta come live with me." And she saved my life. I wasn't going down a good road. That was I just thinking of her, like she has passed, and she got to see me sober, right? And I celebrated my sobriety years, and she got to come to those celebrations. And I remember people would come tell me how proud she was of me, and she'd tell me too, and that was a beautiful thing. I miss her. I'm forever grateful for her. The rock bottom moment. The rock bottom moment. I attempted to take my life when I was in foster care. That was probably my hardest time. I was about 15, and it was stemmed from a girl. That's what it was. And yeah, I took a bunch of pills. I left her a note saying what I did, and then she gave that note to my foster mom, who actually, she called the ambulance. I got the ambulance there, and they brought me to the hospital. I took charcoal to flush what was in my system out, and she literally saved my life too. And she sat by my bed, and she said things like, it's not going to be this hard forever. It's not going to be like this forever. It's going to get better. And she took this. I had all these things all over me. I don't know what they were, but I guess they're checking my pulse and my heart rate, and to make sure I was still alive. But there's a heart sticker, and she grabbed that, she ripped it, and she put it in her scrapbook. And I don't know where that scrapbook is today. I talked to my foster mom's granddaughter about it, and I think maybe her daughter might have it, and hopefully it's still around, because there's a lot of kids that she's helped and saved. She was the lady that took on the hardest cases and the hardest kids, and the ones that there's a lot of people that couldn't get through to these kids, but she did, and she did it in her own way. And she was like a real strong and good figure for all of us, and she's missed and loved too. I think about her on a regular. I think if I were to choose anybody to have a conversation with that has passed on, it would be her, because I felt like I could talk to her about anything, and she was one of the most kind but most intelligent people I've known. What made you finally decide to look inward? Well, I think like going through the 12 steps, my first time was probably, you have no choice. You do it honestly and thoroughly, and I'm talking about all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 12. There you have no choice, but you're going to have to look inward. And that's what scares a lot of people because they don't want to do that. So it's very important to get that courage to be able to do that. And I think that's when I decided to start looking inward. It was all the things that I wanted to cover up, and that's what I was using drugs and alcohol for. The moment I realized I can't keep living like this. There's a lot of moments that, like I said, my rock bottom was 15, but I still, even though I felt that was my rock bottom, I didn't sober up right away. I still drank. Like when I was in foster care, I was popping pills, like these uppers that made it look like I was high on cocaine, or people thought I was on crack, and I mean, like I still went on with that. But I think the moment I realized I can't keep living like this, like I had a few epiphanies, and I had these early on too, like when I was in a teenager or childhood. Like I watched my mom, how much she struggled in her addiction, and same with my dad. Like drinking was a part of like the way he went. Like he was partying by the river the night before, and he ended up in the river. And if he wasn't partying, like if he wasn't drinking, he might be still around. I watched my grandpa pass away right in front of me, and he was drinking a 2.6 of vodka every single day. He drank so much that his nose was purple all the time. And so I got to watch all these people that were suffering and in pain and that have died from this. And so it's like, do I want to go down that path or do I want to change? And so I had that choice, that decision that I had to make. And that's the moment, and many moments that helped me realize that I cannot live like this, because it would end up in an early grave. And that's the reality of it. And the way I was going down, it was going to happen that way. Early grave, end up in the psych ward, going to jail, all those kinds of things were in store for me if I kept going down and chose to go down that path that I was going. And I'm very fortunate and lucky. And one of the things too is like I get to share my story now. And because if I could share my story, other people could relate. And that's such a beautiful thing. Like I do not regret any of my past because I could share this with others and people could resonate with it. And now it's a tool. All my hardships and everything that I've been through, even though they fucking hurt and they fucking sucked, they're a gift. Do you know how powerful that is to turn something that hard into a gift? It's a thing of beauty. So I hope you could do the same thing. And if you resonate with this, if you relate to this, tell me that you do. Comment about it. Like it. And if there's somebody that you maybe that's a family member or a friend or someone that you could think of who could relate to this, who needs to hear these types of messages, repost this, share this with them, and just know that you're not alone. There's a lot of people that have gone through a lot of pains and hurts, and they've overcome so much because they chose to, and because they know that they did not want to live the life that they were anymore. First step I took towards myself. And I mean, there's been many steps that I took towards myself, and I think the most complete I've been feeling is probably the last 3 years. And like I said, like I was always concentrating on sobriety. It was like I felt like I was this bad person. I did these bad things and that I had to make amends for. But, you know, there's that other side that felt like it was kind of being neglected or pushed down or ostracized. And I feel like I have embraced that more than ever. And I love my whole self because of it.